Hi, everybody. Candace Daniolo here with Pet Boss Nation. How are you this morning? I am, thank you. Well, thank you for patiently waiting for those of you joining us live. We have 4 of us on camera today. I have 3 guests that I'm very excited to introduce to you very soon. I am broadcasting from a hotel room in Las Vegas, and I've got flowers here with me that were part of our booth, the Pet Boss Nation booth at Super Zoo. I am here for a couple extra days, and I wanted to bring them to the room, so I thought maybe you'd enjoy seeing them too. But Super Zoo was amazing. There were kind of some mixed emotions, I think, from manufacturers and vendors on if the attendance was what they wanted or if the buyers were there. But I can tell you that there were a lot of attendees there. I just think that the show is so big that there's more people are ever spread out, right? Well, today what we're going to be doing in this show is we're focusing on CBD and what's going on with those products and the legislation and how you can sell more of those products. And what I found that was really interesting about Super Zoo is that there were, if you just even look at superzoo.org, look at the exhibitor list, there were, I think, something like 25 booths that have just the name CBD in the name of their company. 25 companies that have the name CBD in it. And then there were another 27 companies that had the word hemp in their name. And we all know that there are so many more companies that don't even have either of those words in their names, and they sell products too. So CBD and hemp, or whatever you want to call it, I don't even know. That's what we're going to talk to our guests today about. Is a massive trend right now, and we'll also discuss whether it's a trend or if it's going to stay, and the things that you need to know. So we're going to dig in because there's so much to talk about, and I know that you guys have questions too. But let me just thank you for joining in. My name's Candace Daniolo. I'm a pet business coach, founder of Pet Boss Nation, and I am a former boutique retailer, a doggy daycare owner. I'm a columnist for this. Pets Plus and I like to team up to educate you for these shows called Pets Plus Live Beyond the Pages, where we interview experts and contributors from the magazine and bring them online so that you, the reader of the magazine or supporter of the pet industry, get an opportunity to talk directly with us one-on-one. And how you do that is through the chat feed, which I think is already blown up right now. You just type in the chat questions you have, and our assistant coach with Pet Boss Nation, Christina, is in the chat room flagging the questions. So we're going to save your questions for the end because we want to make sure we get through all the awesome ideas and perspectives from our guests today. So, don't hold back. No question is too complicated or too simple. We have a lot of different people watching tonight live. And if you're watching a replay, still feel free to type questions in the comments, and someone from my team or the Pets Plus team will be happy to follow up with you. All right, so I want to get started here. Before I bring our guests on, I'm going to read a little bit about what makes them amazing, okay? Amazing pet bosses in the CBD industry. So our first guest is Julianna Carella. She's the CEO and founder of Treatibles, which in 2013 was the first company to expertly infuse hemp-derived phytocannabinoid-rich PCR products for pets and all treats, and they're proudly made here in the USA. Julianna, who's also the CEO and founder of Auntie Dolores, Treatibles' parent company. So she's been an expert in the field for more than a decade. Both companies are women-owned. I love that. And they're women-run businesses, and now they have 17 people strong. And they're dedicated to helping bring calm, balance, and vitality to pets and people. So Julianna, I'd love for you to turn your camera on and come join us. Camera and mic. There we go. Oh,
Hi
I think
there.
that's everybody. I got everybody now. Okay. I need to do, let's see, I'm going to pull you up big. There we go. You're big and I'm small. Here we go. Hi. Well, welcome. I
Thank
am
you.
so glad you were able to join us. I mean, I really am impressed by what you've accomplished and what your journey has been. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey?
Sure. I started a company called Auntie Dolores in 2008 in San Francisco, which is actually the birthplace of medical cannabis. And we began by making THC edibles for humans with all kinds of health problems. And it wasn't soon after that that some of the patients using those products started to ask us if they could use the same products for their animals. And back in 2010, when the world was becoming more familiar with CBD, that's about when we started working on developing products for animals. We spent over a year developing the first Treatibles products, so that by 2013, we had many of our patients that were using our human product line were giving the animal product line to their animals, and we were able to collect quite a lot of data in the beginning years to support, this new product development and this new category, which ended up materializing years later. So that's basically the short and sweet of how this all happened. There was a need that seemed to come from the customers using our products, a need to give something to their animals to relieve anxiety and arthritis. Cannabis, obviously, and hemp have so many health benefits that address those issues. And as soon as we found out about CBD being non-psychoactive and being totally safe and non-toxic, it just seemed like a great chemical to work with. And along with all the other cannabinoids that we're using in the product, just developing something specifically for animals was really something that came from our customers. The need for this really came from their desires to help their animals.
Absolutely. So the company is founded on values of compassionate care, superior ingredients sourced in the U.S., and consistent, reliable information and integrity. I love all of that. And you like to say, well, you say that Treatibles is a compassion certified. The products are compassion certified. What does that mean?
Well, we always like to remind people that, the very first cannabis laws on record were the Compassionate Use Act. And the reason why they needed to partially legalize cannabis for sick people, back in the early 90s was because there needed to be some compassion for these people that really had nowhere else to turn. And I'm talking about AIDS and cancer patients that, had been outcast and unfortunately didn't have a lot of resources, not to mention remedies to help their, painful state. So the first laws on the books were called the Compassionate Use Act. And I really like to draw attention to that because I think everything regarding what we do is based on compassion for our animals, compassion for the pet guardians that take care of them. And it's a big, big part of our everyday interactions with our customers, which are often very, in many cases, they're painful conversations about their sick animals. We get calls all day long from customers that are just at their wits' end trying to figure out how to address their complicated animals' health problems. And obviously, we have to have compassion to do a good job at helping these people with their animals.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. I can't wait to dig into even more details. But before we do that, I want to bring on Samantha. So, Julianna, we're going to turn off your mic and camera real quick, and we'll bring on Sam.
Okay.
All right. So, Sam, go ahead and join us. Okay, here we go. Awesome. Hi there. Oh, got a little bit of, there we go. Turn your camera back on. There we go. Okay, but your mic, we just need your mic on now. Okay, your mic is now on. Although I can't hear you still. No, I can't hear you. Okay, so Sam, I want you to log out and log back into the system, okay? And we're going to bring Mike on. I can't hear you. So we're going to go ahead, Sam, and log off and log back on. And Mike, are you ready? You ready to come up? Mike and camera. There we go.
I'm here.
You're here. That's what live broadcasting is all about. You know, it's amazing though, with technology, we can even do this. Well, you and I are in the same town, at least. We both were at Super Zoo. Yeah.
We both probably woke up 10 minutes before this thing.
Pretty much. And our voices are like so gone. Well, let me tell everybody about you and your company. So since January of this year, Green Coast Pet with Mike Bateman, he's the president and CEO. They've made a huge splash in the pet market with their really unique and fun treats like hemp butter and apple sauces. It's a really interesting product selection. I love it. The team there currently just consists of Mike and his business partner, Nick, but they have a sales team with the pet firm who's repping their line nationwide, and they recently announced that your distribution partners now are Animal Supply Company, right?
That's right.
That's so cool. So tell us about your journey into selling the hemp products.
Yeah, sure. So I've been at a couple of different companies here in the pet industry for the past 5 or 6 years or so, and just starting to walk around these shows, Super Zoo Global, the past couple of years, my partner Nick and I started to see kind of the proliferation of hemp and CBD on the market, and we knew what a fantastic product it was, or a fantastic ingredient it was. We just felt that there was a lot of the same stuff. It was just a lot of biscuits and tinctures, just not a lot of innovation in the category. It was felt like it was just something in its infancy where there was a lot of opportunity to bring innovation and fun to this product or to this ingredient. So Nick and I spent about a year, little over a year, kind of seeking out manufacturers and working on packaging and branding and all of that, and went to market in January of this year with some really fun, different products that just are not what you normally see on a shelf. They're not they're just not biscuits and tinctures. We make soft chews. We mix it with things like peanut butter and sunflower oil, and really try to bring interaction to you and your pet while administering CBD or hemp or whatever. So we just want to make sure that we keep innovating, and that's kind of where we stand, is we want to bring innovation to this category.
Yeah, I love it. I think you're definitely doing that. Well, thanks for joining us, Mike. Let's see if we've got Samantha back and available. So we'll turn off your camera and mic. Sam, let's try it again. Okay, we'll turn the mic on.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Yay!
Yeah, your camera's a little slow, but I think it's just probably the internet connection. So
okay.
It's no problem though. We'll make it work. All right, let me introduce you to the community. So, Samantha Youngblood, she's actually our Pet Boss Nation club member and part of our community, which I'm so glad to have you on today. And since 2013, Youngblood's Natural Animal Care Center and Massage has been run by Samantha and Kim Youngblood, which is her mom. So it's a mother-daughter duo. They offer all-natural approach to your animal companions, from beds, supplements, treats, toys, food, collars, leashes, and more. She also offers animal massage, rehab. Let's make sure I pronounce this right. Kinesiology taping, ANMR, and thermography, that's probably right, red light, and more. I mean, you should be explaining what you do, I can think. But she is going to be giving her a retail perspective on selling CBD. So did I miss anything there, Samantha? Did I get all those words right?
Yeah, you were perfect.
Okay, great. Yeah, you offer a lot. I mean, you sell a lot of really good products, but you also have a lot of really interesting services. So I would love to just kind of hear quickly, like, what do you typically recommend CBD for to your customers?
Yeah, we offer, since we do a lot of animal rehab therapy, we offer CBD products to our clients for animals. We get a lot of arthritis, a lot of pain management, a lot of pets that have and relief for them. Even for stress and anxiety, we sell a lot for even before car rides, motion sickness, thunderstorms, offering it here, and our clients have reaction and response to it.
Mm-hmm. Do you, I love it. You said something about it being not a trend or a fad, and I hope it's not. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, like sometimes in the pet industry, there are trends and fads. I don't feel like I think that it is something that could stay around for a long time, and it's in our clients that have been on the oil or the treats or using the cream and is a long lasting, and that's get into it later, but that's why it's been a coaster ride for us and for my customers, and then it's been taken away so many times, and I want to be able to offer it and expand the lines that I do carry, so, and bring in new companies to my store, because I think will keep their pets on. Healthy animals, I'm trying to encourage them to take it as well as a preventative and just a daily food.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love that. Yeah. We're gonna talk more about that. I'm gonna go ahead while we try to turn off your mic because I'm getting feedback. And then when we come to you to ask some questions, we will turn your mic back on. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much for tuning in, Samantha, and joining us. So I've got everybody on. We're going to dig into all of this. We have everybody turn on their cameras and mics except Samantha. All right, great. All right. So, and Sam, if you have anything when you want to chime in, just raise your hand. I think it's just because of the feedback. Okay. So I want to start with Julianna, and I would really love to really have you break this down for me, because like we don't know what CBD is, we don't know what hemp is, but let's start. I think starting with, what is CBD? Does it stand for something? Just tell me what it is. Oh, we need your microphone on real quick. There you go. Okay.
CBD is the acronym for cannabidiol. And it's just one of hundreds of chemicals that are naturally found in cannabis and hemp. CBD probably has the longest list of health benefits, but all of the cannabinoids have health benefits. Some are psychoactive chemicals, and most of them are not psychoactive. We're all familiar with THC because that was one of the first chemicals that was discovered, and it does get you high. Obviously, that was the chemical that was basically responsible for getting cannabis placed on the Controlled Substance Act, which is basically what started the prohibition of cannabis many decades ago. And since then, CBD was discovered in the meantime, and because CBD also comes from cannabis, by default, it has also become a Schedule I narcotic when it comes from cannabis. So I don't know how far you want me to go into the cannabis versus hemp discussion right now, but there's more I can expand on.
Yeah, well, we will. So but before we get there, so that because of the THC, that's why you just can't give your dog pot, right? As we know, as people who, consumers, right? The humans, when you talk about cannabis, I feel like you're talking about smoking pot, eating pot, whatever it is, like the slang for it, right? So because of that THC is why you just can't give your dog pot. Are there other reasons?
Well, I'd like to explain why it's not advisable to give THC to animals. And in some cases it is advisable when a veterinarian that's very well versed in cannabinoid science and treatment is involved. But for the most part, THC can actually be very toxic, especially to dogs. It can send them to the hospital with static ataxia, which can actually kill them if things don't go well and it's not treated right away. So there's that. And then there's the fact that animals don't necessarily like to be high the way that humans might enjoy that experience. It's not an experience that's fun for animals. You know, animals tend to have a lot more receptors than humans do. Dogs have more receptors than any other species. So all animals in general, especially dogs, are particularly sensitive to all the cannabinoids. So that means that even a very low dose of THC can be very toxic to a dog or another species, like a cat or any other pet for that matter. Humans can handle a lot higher dosage of that chemical than animals can. And this is why it's important for people to understand the difference between THC and CBD and THCA and CBDV and all these different chemicals. They all have meaning and purpose in these formulas, and the ones that seem to do the best are the ones that contain a lot of chemicals but don't contain THC.
Dog in a room that could potentially get like secondhand smoke.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the first part of your question because the voice cut out a little bit.
Oh yeah, no problem. Just like if someone was smoking pot and their dog were to get secondhand smoke from that, is that a problem still?
Yeah, it can be, absolutely, depending on how many milligrams that the dog consumes and how big they are and how sensitive they are. But absolutely, it can give an animal static ataxia from ingesting secondhand smoke.
Okay, but I would love to find out too. I mean, there's two other things that when we were talking earlier, that phytocannabinoids, right? And maybe go into that. And I don't know if that plays even into the difference between hemp and cannabis, or hemp and CBD. I know there's a lot of questions around that. There's some influencers that were at Super Zoo that are already writing blogs about this, and they just don't understand the difference between hemp and CBD.
Well, the difference, so CBD is the chemical that comes from the hemp plant, and it also comes from the cannabis plant. But I think in order to answer that question successfully, we have to highlight the difference between cannabis and hemp briefly right here. So basically, the cannabis plant has higher levels naturally of THC, and it has levels of all these other cannabinoids depending on the strain that's cultivated. Hemp has naturally very low levels of all the chemicals. There's virtually no THC in the hemp plant, and it has a certain amount of CBD, not a lot. Cultivators have figured out how to manipulate these plants to get the most out of them, and meaning the cannabinoid content that they want for a product that would be suitable for animals. So the hemp and the cannabis plant both naturally produce these chemicals, although the THC component is going to be much higher in the cannabis plant. So the reason why we extract from the hemp plant is because now hemp is being grown for these purposes, and they've gotten the cannabinoid profile of these hemp plants to where it's got this rich cannabinoid content, but it doesn't have the THC. So it's pretty ideal for animals.
Okay, that's great. I would love to go to Mike now about that and just say why, because you focus on hemp or the word hemp, and so is there a difference for you from what she's already said here between, using the CBD term or using a hemp term?
Yeah, there's a huge difference, and it all goes to legality and legal things going on right now. And so it does cause quite a bit of confusion because there's companies that have products that market behind hemp but use just hemp seed as opposed to maybe like a hemp extract that has some naturally occurring CBD and other cannabinoids. So, but the big thing with us is we, from the very beginning, wanted to make sure that we were doing everything that we possibly could to stay on shelf in all 50 states. Now, is that always possible? I don't know, but we want to make it as safe and low risk as possible for the retailer. So the very first thing that we seek to do in the very beginning was create a partnership with the NASC and become NASC members and have all of our packaging for any of our products, whether it's a hemp product or its future supplemental products that we come out with, be NASC compliant in our packaging. And
can we pause there for 1 second for people who are watching who don't know what that is? Please explain what NASC is.
Yeah, so NASC is the National Animal Supplement Council, and they, I think the easiest way to kind of really break down a little bit of what they are, they're basically AFCO, but for supplements. So if you have a treat on the market, you more or less typically go through the state agriculture departments and get it registered through that state. And for NASC, you go through NASC to register it through them and make sure you're compliant on that side. So I think that's the easiest way to kind of describe what it is. And
it's once you are approved, or it's a seal that you can put on your packaging. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. So since we're still so new, we're still going through the audit process, but from the very beginning in creating our packaging, we've been working with them to make sure that our packaging is compliant. But there's a lot more that goes into being able to use their seal than just having packaging that's compliant. So they have to do an audit of your facilities. You have to go to their annual meeting. So if you miss that, you're a year out. So it's a lot of different things. So that was, I think, the biggest thing with NASC. So we're working on putting that seal on. Hopefully it'll be on our next run of packaging because it's not there yet. But we're still working through basically our first run of packaging. So that's why.
Great. Then would you say that, and I think we'll probably talk about it too as we get into later into about like making it a revenue stream and like how to really sell it or which products to even pick. Would you say that if you're a retailer who's looking for products that they absolutely have to have that seal?
I think it helps minimize risk. Absolutely. Yeah. We have definitely worked with retailers that have had other brands pulled off of their shelf by state agriculture departments because of feed terms on their packaging. And you know, the word treat or biscuit or things like that are words that AFCO or the state agriculture department looks for on packaging to have it be considered a feed. And that's why you'll see on our packaging we use the word chew, for example. Using the word treat or biscuit, like I said, moves your category over to a feed, and then you fall under the jurisdiction of the state agriculture departments. And then hemp, CBD, PCR, you know, anything related to hemp is, and a lot hemp seed even, for example. While I mean we see that in all sorts of things, any of that stuff is unapproved by AFCO as a feed ingredient. So if you have a feed term on your packaging, but you're using an unapproved feed ingredient, the state agriculture department does have the ability to go into any store and ask them to remove that product from your shelf. So by using NASC terminology, using NASC approved ingredients, you minimize that risk dramatically.
Yeah. I like it. You guys have a lot of technology factors. Okay, totally. So, okay, let's go back to I might be back again. Turn your mic off. Julianna. Okay. So I want to, before we move into more legislation stuff, there was one thing that I saw because I was flipping through the show dailies of the trade show today. Not today, it was yesterday as we were reviewing and putting together kind of our outline for the talk. And there's an ad, a company's running an ad that says that they have naturally occurring CBD. Can you tell us what that even means? And is it just marketing jargon?
Yeah, I mean, I probably would hesitate to speak on any other company's packaging because right now I think we're all in a state of confusion and everything that Mike just mentioned is spot on with NASC. I mean, we just been involved with them and have learned a ton. I mean, it's almost impossible to be completely compliant right now because there's so many things happening right now that just actually happened in the last week that influence our industry. So I don't know what that company means when they use that term. I think that, I mean, right now it's kind of tricky because companies like ours were faced with the choice of calling the product a hemp product or, you know, a cannabinoid product. And part of the hesitation with calling it a hemp product is people will now think it's a hemp seed oil product that doesn't have any cannabinoid content. And, you know, there are companies in the market right now that are like that, and they use all the same marketing terms to sell their product, but without those cannabinoids in the product, they're not going to be nearly as effective. So it's kind of a philosophical challenge for us to hop on the hemp bandwagon when our product is not a hemp seed product. But if that's the game that needs to be played in order to be compliant, then that's what we and all these other companies will do. It's just, to me, it's a bit sad that things have come to this, because, you know, at the end of the day, the customer has every right to know what they're giving their animal, and they have every right to know exactly what's in that product. And the more transparent we are, in many cases, that can actually have a negative effect on us with the regulators. So we're faced with the decision of being totally transparent and being very forthcoming with everything about our product that there is to know, and exposing that on our packaging, or taking the safe route and, you know, paring it all down and removing a lot of helpful information. I mean, if you can believe it, we actually had to edit over 1,000 product reviews on our website because people are sending in fantastic 5-star reviews telling us about our product curing their animals' epilepsy, or curing their animals, you know, shrinking their cancer cells. I mean, we literally have to write back to the customer and ask them to edit the disease name out of their review, so that when the FDA visits our website, they don't, you know, throw up a bunch of red flags. This is the kind of thing that we're faced with every day. We have to basically censor our customers' feedback about our product so that we can remain compliant.
Wow. Well, let's I mean, that is really I think retailers telling that have to worry about the
Well, that's why we go into great detail with our customers as to how they can successfully market the products and remain compliant. I mean, we spend a lot of time trying to remain compliant, but if our customers go and, you know, put sandwich boards outside their shop that say, we carry CBD products, they'll cure your dog's epilepsy and this kind of thing, it doesn't really help. So we have to teach our customers how to properly market the products so that they can remain compliant as well.
Great. Well, since you brought it up, all of the exciting things that I guess are happening this week, you know, the FDA just approved CBD oil to be used for epilepsy as an epilepsy drug, or an epilepsy drug. Can you tell us more about what's happening this week in legislation?
Yeah, I just want to clarify, they didn't approve CBD oil, they approved the CBD molecule. So
okay, that's something I found on the internet, though. The internet is telling me it's true. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
There's a lot of great stuff on the internet, but
I know. Obviously, I have the wrong article, but that's the problem. That is the problem, right? And that's why this struggle is so real. So tell us exactly what happened.
So GW Pharmaceuticals in the UK has been working on a product called Epidiolex. It's a specific CBD medicine that is being used for children with Dravet syndrome, which is a rare form of epilepsy. It's a horrible form of epilepsy, and children with that particular type of epilepsy have responded very well to cannabinoids. But to be clear, this medicine, Epidiolex, is only CBD. It's not a full plant extract. It doesn't come from hemp. They're actually using cannabis CBD. The strains that GW Pharmaceuticals used in their development of this product are actually strains that were developed and cultivated in Northern California right here in our backyard from the farmers that we used to work with when we first started developing this product. So basically they took the genetics of these master growers in Northern California and turned it into an FDA approved medicine. And the good news is that this is going to open up a lot of new research, which is very much needed. Part of why there's a lack of research around cannabinoids is because of the very murky legal waters, meaning that as long as something is a Schedule I narcotic, there's no opportunity to research it because it's already been deemed harmful and without medical value. So we just turned a big corner by approving a cannabinoid. This is going to open up more research, and it's going to change the landscape for this industry in ways that are still unknown to us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are there any other current legislations out there right now that might be pending that we should be aware of?
Well, the Farm Bill just passed the House I believe, yesterday, and now it has to go through the Senate. There's specific language in the Farm Bill of 2018 that legalizes CBD that comes from hemp, basically removes hemp from that Schedule I narcotic status and opens up more opportunity for hemp to be legal and for cannabinoids to be legal. That's a huge, huge step in the right direction. And that was all basically done by Mitch McConnell, who's a Republican. So again, we see some interesting legislation coming down the pipes by Republicans for cannabis and hemp legalization.
Okay, interesting.
Something that's been unexpected for us.
Yeah, we don't want to go down a political rabbit hole, but I guess that wouldn't be typical, right? The Republican versus Democrat going down, supporting it. So then is there, because I know this is another question we've gotten from our audience and readers and our Pet Boss Nation community as well, is there a resource available for them for the public to just go on? Is there an online resource or a place that they can go to kind of make sure they're up to date on legislation or things that are happening in their own cities and states?
I wish there was one central location, but unfortunately, this is information that seems to be so fragmented that I don't know you're going to find all your information in one source. But I've been turning to the Hemp Roundtable. That's a fantastic email to get on if you can, because they are up to the minute on anything related to hemp legalization, and all this information that I just conveyed to you is stuff that I learned from their website. It's called Hemp Roundtable. I think that's a great resource. There's a ton of great resources. The Hemp Industry Association is obviously very much on top of all these details. Hemp Feed Coalition, they're trying to basically make hemp a food ingredient. That's probably going to take about 2 years before that's done. So yeah, there's a lot happening right now, and it's definitely, it's almost impossible to jump into this industry without becoming somewhat politically involved, because you have to, in order to understand what your business can and cannot do.
Mm-hmm. Sam, I want to bring you on now. Hopefully we'll turn your mic on, and I see you've moved location, so maybe your Wi-Fi is a little bit stronger there. Your journey has been really interesting. So, you're in Indiana, and let's see, she's a little frozen, but why don't you tell us your story? Oh, we got a little delay. Oh no, Sam. Okay. Here's what we'll do. There she goes. That's better. I still can't hear you though. Okay. So pop back out, pop back in, and we'll get you connected. And but so what we're gonna do is she's our retailer. She has had ups and downs. It's been a really long journey for her in Indiana. She's actually got she's got the police educating everybody on CBD, and then it was not the police, I guess, but I'll let her share that. But that the CBD was illegal. And then she ended up hiring a lawyer to make sure that she wasn't breaking any laws, only then to realize that it was legal. And then it became illegal again. It was pulled off her shelves. She was interviewed by the news. The governor is giving stores a second chance now to continue selling it. And so they put it out again, and then it all got pulled again, started talking to her lawyer again. So like all of this, I mean, can you imagine? So as I'm sure as retailers, you know, when it comes to something like Super Zoo and they see all these companies that are selling it, they're almost like, is it worth it? Like this just seems like some of these states, I just feel like it's just way too much. Okay, so Samantha's on, we see your camera.
I hope I am.
Yay, we can hear you. Okay, great.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so
okay.
So tell us, what's your story been like as a retailer?
Okay, so definitely been a roller coaster ride for sure. I mean, it's ago, and I actually had the excise police come in undercover to my store. So I didn't know they were at the time, and my counter and said, you have CBD oil on your shelf. I can arrest you right now and charge you with a felony. And I had literally just come back from Global, and that's where I had purchased it from, and it had been on my shelf for probably about 30 days.
Wow.
So I my shelf, obviously, contacted our attorney, and that's kind of where everything started. And the news contacted me, and I was on the news, and then we were out again, and we weren't. The Attorney General said CBD in Indiana is illegal, so we had to pull it. And then the governor said, well, we're unsure about it. So we didn't. Now I can't, July 1, Indiana made it legal, but they've made the strict that there's literally like 20 requirements that the man to put on their packaging for us to be able to carry it in Indiana.
Yeah.
So it's been really frustrating because I can't provide it anymore.
So we have a little bit of
where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to turn your mic off again real quick because I have my feedback. What she said is broken up a little bit there, but what she's saying is as of July 1st, you the label, it sounds like the label needs to have about 20 approved ingredients in it from these manufacturers for them to be able to sell it. And it's kind of like still as a to be continued. But one of the things that you mentioned is that it's just angering your customers, you know, and again, to what Julianna has said earlier is that it's really the consumer that it's just frustrating, and because they want to be able to like help their animals and need how the benefits of this product. So, you know, as a retailer, if you can't keep it in stock, you're just encouraging, I guess, consumers to shop on the internet. But Julianna, can you even ship to these states? If someone lives in a state or an area, are you even allowed to ship to these states, or is that something you have to track as well?
We absolutely can. And one of the things that we always try to remind regulators when these things come up is, you know, the choices that these pet guardians now have are to go to a dispensary and buy a THC product that's not even designed for an animal. I mean, part of why Treatibles exists and all these other companies is so that people don't have to go and give their animal a THC product that's not even suitable for them. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have to keep these products in the market for that purpose alone, because otherwise we're just going to have people giving everything to their animal that's not appropriate and possibly harmful. And, you know, CBD that comes from hemp is legal in all 50 states. For the states that take it upon themselves to create these new sets of laws and regulate it like it's a Schedule I narcotic, well, they're not going to be able to do that anymore if the Farm Bill passes. And they're not going to be able to do that much longer in states where, I mean, we've even got some states that have legal hemp programs, and then they've tried to ban CBD. It's absurd. It makes no sense. And the right hand's not talking to the left hand in many cases. Unfortunately, there's some states that are just always going to be difficult, but most states, I mean, we sell our product in 49 states right now. I don't know if that's going to continue forever, but that's where we're at right now. And we plan to continue to sell it in as many states as possible, because guess what? There are sick animals in every state that need it. If there wasn't a need for it, we wouldn't sell it, but there is a need. That's why we sell it.
Right. So let's talk about, because of the time that we have left, I would love to be able to move into how you really make it a successful revenue stream for your business. Let's say, you don't have any problems in your state and you've got the right product selection. I know that sometimes there's hurdles or objections, and before I want to be able also let's give Mike a chance to jump in here again. How do you see retailers really growing this side of their business?
A lot like Julianna said, is it's an ingredient that people are definitely starting to see and hear about. And with, it seems like almost, every few months a new state legalizes marijuana. And so it's starting to get out there more and more and more. So people are definitely starting to see it. And then you have viral videos on Facebook that, people are giving their animals CBD and it's, helping with whatever issue they're encountering. So, word is traveling and it's getting its way to retailers and to consumers alike. So, I think that it's definitely starting to grow that way. But the one thing that we as Green Coast Pet are trying to do is we have hemp-based products as well. But what we're also doing is we have products that are not hemp-based. We just have really great, fun, interactive treats. And so, in states where it is difficult or not allowed, we don't have to walk away from that customer. We're able to work with them on one of those treats. But also, what we're hoping is that people will try our other treats and then be curious about other products that Green Coast Pet makes, and help migrate them over to our hemp-based products. So we kind of have a little bit of a two-pronged approach. So
I think that's smart. I think that's a smart business. You can get the lead as a customer and company, and then have, as things change, they can potentially bring in other products.
Sure, exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna turn your mic off because of the feedback too. So Samantha, if we can hear you, let's try it one more time with your mic. What you brought up some really good points too about how you can grow the business, really around knowledge and education. How do you choose?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. How do you choose as a retailer?
Okay.
How do you choose which way it's just, if it's an oil or a treat or, other, how it's delivered? How do you choose which product you're going to promote and sell?
You guys can hear me. But with the oil, we carry a company right now because it's been such a roller coaster ride. And so with the oil that they provide, it comes in a couple of different strengths. And we normally sell that to clients that are really experiencing high levels of arthritic pain, or they're going through cancer treatment. And when I say cancer, I don't mean that it's to cure cancer. I say it's going to help them get through their treatment, whatever that is. So that I'm not putting that out there saying that I'm going to cure their dog or cat's cancer. Geriatric animals, things like that. If they're looking for more of a stress, I will lead them more to a treat-based product that they can give throughout the day. And they usually like that more economical. The oil is usually more on the pricey side. So the treat is a good option, the benefits that they're looking for, but a better price point.
Mm-hmm. So through that education too, you said something that there's just so many products that are out there. Everyone's jumping on the bandwagon, and it's obvious it's Super Zoo. How you have to show the products that you sell and how they're superior through education. How do you do that?
I try to just explain to people, make sure that when you're looking for one of these products, how it's extracted is vital. We always look for the CO2 extraction, not butane or ethanol extraction. And then where it's sourced. I know a lot of companies out there that are just trying to hop on the CBD bandwagon are sourcing from other countries where the quality isn't there. People to look for the highest quality possible, because there's just so much out there right now. It can get very overwhelming for your customer.
Let's see. One of the questions that came up, and I don't know if you've experienced this, Samantha or Juliana, you can jump in too, is just that, the consumer is sometimes also hearing from their vet when this product is brought up that there just isn't enough studies done. Don't give this to your pet yet. So as a retailer, when you do bring this in and you're trying to sell it, how do you overcome those hurdles?
It is definitely a hurdle.
Go ahead.
No, whoever wants to.
Go, you can still go see him, and Juliana can jump on.
Okay. It's definitely a hurdle for us. Obviously, we do a lot of the rehab for animals that are dealing with surgery, and a lot of customers will purchase this to help with pain management. And but they're like, oh, my vet says it needs to be water soluble, or it needs to come from this country, or there's not enough studies. And I just go back to the company that we purchased from provides me with a lot of literature, and I do just go back to the basics. Like, it's not going to interact with any medication, so your pet can still be on, if it needs to be on a pain medication or anything like that, you can give this in conjunction with it. And I try to go I've been going to vets' offices as well and just spray this. And I'm not trying to work against you, but I work with a holistic vet, and she carries CBD oil in her and provides it to her clients. So I just try to not go against the vet, to just as much as I can. And not being a manufacturer, I'm still in the learning process and learning about the CBD products and the hemp and how I can get it across to my clients as best to my ability. And I'm sure that they go through the same thing as a man, educate as well.
Juliana, I'd love for you to jump in here and share your insight on this. And then I also, I'll let you share, and I just didn't want to forget this other thing about the webinars that you guys do for your clients.
Yeah.
You should bring those.
Yeah, well, we learned last year that veterinarians were basically being told by the veterinary board not to even mention hemp and cannabis products to their patients, which is a pretty extreme approach to take in the current environment when a lot of pet guardians will give this to their animal regardless of what their vet says. So we've really tried to reach out to vets. We've got over 100 veterinarians that carry our product, and many of those vets are actually vet hospitals. So we've had the opportunity to work with our in-house vets and start working on studying some of the results that these hospitals and vets using our products are having. So that's been really exciting. But what we found is that the veterinarians that do carry these types of products tend to be, they tend to be pioneers in their field. It's not your typical everyday veterinarian that's going to start using these products because of the legal landscape, but the ones that understand how these chemicals work, they really want these products in their toolbox, so to speak. So we really try to encourage veterinarians to understand it. It's pretty atypical that, the lay people of the world are now educating veterinarians on this, but this is because veterinarians have basically been excluded from the conversation. They've been told not to talk about it. And because of the lack of research, because of the legal status of cannabis, this has certainly kept veterinarians away from all the facts behind cannabinoids. So it's kind of a unique situation, and we'd really like it to change because it makes no sense, and veterinarians should be able to use phytocannabinoids to treat their animals.
So we were talking before about how your recommendation for growing this category in a business is through education, and that the knowledge behind the phytocannabinoids, how they work, where they're sourced, why the quantity or quantify the milligram count and the importance of the third-party testing, like all of these things matter. So what are you doing as a company to support that education?
Well, we do webinars on Tuesday. They're called Training Tuesdays, and we basically invite the customers that are selling our product, and that could be dispensaries, pet stores, veterinarians, you name it. Sometimes we do training specifically just for veterinarians, but most times it's the shopkeepers and the people that work in these shops. They want to understand how to successfully sell the product. They want to understand the science, and they need to understand the legal issues. So there's a lot of information that's covered in about 45 minutes. We have it at noon Pacific time every Tuesday. And we also talk about the lab testing that we do, because we're really big on lab testing. We've been lab testing our products for 10 years. So we're it's very much a part of our product development and consistency, all those things that are important things to our brand. The lab testing is a big part of it. We explain to our customers how to look at lab tests, to ask their vendors for lab tests, to rule out that there's heavy metals, to rule out the biocontaminants, to verify the cannabinoid content, all of those things that any manufacturer should be doing if they're working with phytocannabinoids.
Mm-hmm. We did have a question earlier from Carlene. I'm not sure if she's still on right now, but she's curious if anyone private labels CBD. And I don't know what type of business Carlene has, but I'm wondering, I kind of think of this as two perspectives, is that as retailers, they're often looking for something they can private label, so it looks like their own thing. But I also feel like there's probably, out of all those people exhibiting at Super Zoo, a lot of people are just white labeling other people's products, maybe. So,
yeah, there's a lot of that going on.
Mike, you want to jump in on this?
Yeah, I was just going to say, there are places that'll do it, absolutely. But I mean, I think from the three of us here talking about it, there's a lot of restrictions and a lot of things that you need to make sure that you follow. So if you're doing it, I mean, make sure you're hiring a lawyer. There's all sorts of issues that you need to make sure that you are avoiding when doing that. So I mean, you certainly can do it, but it would probably be a heck of a lot easier to find a couple of great partners that have phenomenal products out there on the market and work with them. I think that would probably be my recommendation, but you can certainly try it. It just probably would put you at a little more risk than you'd probably want.
Okay, so it looks like she's a manufacturer, so she's created and owned all of the rest of their products. She's just looking for an expert on CBD, probably to partner with. Well, we've got some experts here. Reach out to Julianna or Mike, and I'm sure they can point you in the great direction. Okay, so Susan Kemp, she would love to know if there are any restrictions or different rules regarding cats and its usefulness.
Cats respond really well to phytocannabinoids. I mean, all animals have an endocannabinoid system except for insects. So they're all going to respond. Half of our business is with cats. So we've seen great results. Cats, they have anxiety, they have arthritis, they get cancer, they get seizures, all the same things. And then there's a whole host of other conditions that can be addressed successfully as well. But yeah, cats, it tends to be easier to give them the oil product because you can mix it with their food. The cat treats are tough. Working on one right now. It's taken us over a year to develop because they're so picky. It's really hard to get the formula right. But yeah, cats definitely respond.
That's awesome. Susan also had another question. I'm not sure if any of you can answer this. Sam, do you see it? It's also, does anyone have any experience using it for plasma cell patternation? I'm going to pronounce that wrong. Dermatitis or pillow paw disease?
I don't have any experience with that, but I'd try it because it's good for so many things. And, the endocannabinoid system regulates homeostasis. It regulates so many other systems in the body that if there's any inflammation involved, any nervous system involvement, the endocannabinoid system is going to directly affect that. So I think it's worth a try. I mean, honestly, I'd probably try it for a lot of conditions that we may not even have research about because, again, you're just putting the endocannabinoid system back in order, which only creates health.
Definitely. Well, I just for time's sake, because we're going a little bit over here, if anybody ever has any last questions, please type them in the chat feed, and we'll get to those. And is there any last things for, in this story, in this timeline of what's happening for the industry that you guys want to make sure is heard or that our viewers know about, maybe that we haven't covered? Well, I know we've talked about a lot.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, I really, as a business coach and as somebody who's trying to support independent retailers and independent brands, I love these types of discussions. And I also think that all three of you are very successful entrepreneurs as well. So I'd love to be able to regroup and bring this back full circle to what our Pets Plus Beyond the Pages usually are. And it's usually about building business. Each of you have your own kind of top tips as an entrepreneur. I would love to kind of end with each of you sharing what your tip for viewers is in business. So, Julianna, I'll start with you.
I just think, anything related to business, and especially something as complicated as, CBD, you really have to be tenacious. I've said this before at other presentations. You just have to be so tenacious. You can't let anything ruffle your feathers too much, and just keep going if you really believe in your product line. That would be my tip.
And if people want to follow up with you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
You're welcome to email me at Julianna@Treatibles. It's Julianna @Treatibles.com. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Awesome. And Mike, how about you? What's your tip?
Man, I think the biggest thing for me is to be unique. Be unique, but make sure that you're going about things the best possible way. There's one quote that I absolutely love by John Wooden. It's called "Be quick, but don't hurry." So in a market like this, where things happen and move so quickly, you want to make sure that you're doing things quickly. But if you hurry, you start to make mistakes. And if you make some mistakes, they can definitely be absolutely brutal to your company. So you want to be able to make sure that you're following trends and being unique and coming out with fun and interesting products. But at the same time, and even in a retail store, you want to make sure that you're offering those same things, but you want to make sure that you're not hurrying and missing something. So, that would be my biggest thing is make sure that you're trying to be unique and be different. And you see so many of that going, as I visit retail stores all the time now, you see so many different unique stores and their take on, what the best way to offer products to pet parents is. And it's a lot of fun. And then when you start talking about on manufacturing side of things, it's, just make sure you're following trend, but also at the same time, just don't hurry it. Make sure that you are covering your bases.
It's great advice. Yeah, John Wooden. It's John Wooden, right? You shared a bunch of quotes. He's got a lot of great quotes. Yeah. So, and how would people get a hold of you guys?
You can reach me directly on my email, mbateman, BATEMAN, @greencoastpet.com. That's probably the best way to reach me. Or you can fill out on our website. You can just reach out on our website as well, greencoastpet.com. We have a form there, and those emails come directly to myself or my partner, Nick.
Mm-hmm. And just because we mentioned the distribution earlier, can people still order direct from you, or do you want them to go solely to distributor?
So with the distribution partnership, it's going to be a 3-month rollout. So we're basically launching the coasts in July. So right now we'll be launching the East and West coasts. The following month August we'll be launching the Midwest, and then in September we'll be launching in Texas. So there will be places in the country that aren't covered for a couple of months, and even then, there may be someone that just doesn't have an animal supply coverage in their area. So we are definitely keeping direct orders available. But if you do have animal supply, or you have animal supply order that you typically do, we would really love for you to take advantage of that partnership that we've created with them and order through them.
Cool. Now, thanks for joining us, Mike. I'd love to wrap it up with Samantha. She's got some great resources too. Sam, if we can hear you.
I know. I'm trying.
No, it's good. You know, when you started, or when you and I were talking about this show, you've given some great resources too for retailers to follow, the people that you love to follow, and to just kind of learn about nutrition and the healthy pet lifestyle.
Yeah, and I mean, listening to them give their perspective and their thoughts, our business is very different, right? I mean, who does animal massage therapy? And I think that when I do follow different businesses and different retailers, and the Pet Boss Group has just been so life-changing for me, and I'm just still trying to dive into all this and learn. And the thing that makes our company different is we do source everything from America. We don't carry, when people come into our business, they know that everything's from China, and they love that. That makes us different. And so I do follow different retailers and a lot of different manufacturers just to learn from them and to gain knowledge from them. And I think, you know, tenacity and being unique and different, I couldn't agree more with them.
Awesome. And Sam, if people want to find you, what town are you in Indiana?
We're in Greenfield, Indiana. That's probably why I have bad internet.
Oh, well, don't even worry.
We're in the country town.
Yeah, you know what though, but even the internet's a great business learning opportunity, because we're always faced with challenges. We can get frustrated,
Yes.
We can give up, but Samantha, she like truly pivoted in the moment, and she changed locations like 3 times.
I just keep changing my.
So I think, it's great. You know, you can't give up. You just got to always keep, pushing through. So, well, I just want to thank all of you so much for taking the time out to help educate our viewers today. And this video will continue to live on. It's for replay for people to educate the pet industry. So I just thank you for what you're doing and for coming on. And for everyone watching, if you have any questions, type them in the comments, and just tune in twice a month. We take Pets Plus magazine, where to go. This is our June copy. We take the Pets Plus magazine and we go beyond the pages, connecting you with the experts, just like we did today. So, all right, everybody, have a wonderful weekend ahead, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.